Loud. Okay, I think we are good. All right, so welcome to the Elevate Academy. I'm sitting here with Tom Marechek, who is a legend in the game of lacrosse. And one of the best things about Tom Marechek is the number that he wore in college, which was number 42. And I wore number 42 as well. So we got the 42 thing going together. And right behind me, I don't know if you can see it, Tom, but I got a picture on the wall. That's me covering your teammate, Birdie.
Yeah.
So back in the day, I have one of me covering you as well. I couldn't find it. So for those of you who might not know everything there is to know about Tom, let me just kind of give you a quick rundown on what he's done, what he's accomplished in the game of lacrosse, and it's pretty awesome. First of all, Tom was inducted into the U.S. Lacrosse Hall of Fame, I think in 2008. And is that right, Tom?
Yeah.
2008?
12 years ago. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
NLL Hall of Fame, 2007. He won 11 national championships. He's a four-time All-American at Syracuse from 89 to 92. Nine-time All-Pro for the Wings, four-time All-Pro for Major League Lacrosse for the Bayhawks, six-time All-Club. And the Philadelphia Wings retired number 42, which was a lot of fun. So they retired that jersey, can't be worn again. And now Tom is the head lacrosse director at the IMG Academy down in Bradenton, Florida. So Tom is our guest, and welcome to the Elevate Academy, Tom.
No, thank you, Dave. I appreciate it. No, it's good to be here. It's good to be here, especially with the time that we're going through in the sport landscape. But we're trying to make the most of it. I know that. Well,
one thing I'll tell you a little bit about the IMG Academy. I know the IMG Academy really well. It was a few years ago when George Pine, who was the president of IMG at the time, asked me to come down and take a look at the IMG Academy. And really what he wanted me to do was he wanted to know, could we add lacrosse as another sport to the IMG Academy? And a lot of the sports at IMG were Olympic or pro sports like tennis and soccer and baseball and football, basketball, and swimming as well, I believe. I don't know if I'll get all the sports. You probably know all of them. But could we add lacrosse? And the answer I came back after spending 3 days down there was absolutely you could add lacrosse. And now to take the IMG Lacrosse Academy to the next level, they brought in Tom to lead the entire program. So you've only been there, a few months now, Tom?
Yeah, I started the exact day was July 23rd. Yeah, so just 6 months ago. Got my family and I moved from Baltimore, put all the eggs in one basket and said, honey, we're going to Florida. So that's how it all started.
So how do the kids like the academy?
They do. They like it. I have an 8th grader who plays soccer here, IMG. And it's every day. It's a full day of soccer. So he likes soccer. He was a lacrosse player by nature. He started with lacrosse, and he played soccer back home in Baltimore for years. But right now we don't have 8th grade lacrosse, so he's going to start with soccer. And I think, unfortunately, he might be sticking with soccer. I'm a little sad about that, but we'll see what happens.
Then but you know what, though? You want the kids to be happy.
Yeah, you do. And he's met so many friends here, and he's thriving. And it's a great mix, especially the soccer program, international kids. His 2 best friends, one's from Portugal, one's from Brazil. And I've had him over at the house a few times. Great kids. My son Kerner's just smiling every day. He's thriving here. So that's the biggest thing that my wife and I just cry every morning almost, thinking, wow, this kid is just thriving here.
Well, you know what's kind of cool is when I was down there visiting, I was having lunch and with the director of the academy at the time, and he ended up inviting Jamie Moyer, the pitcher from Philadelphia, and he was down there training. And what was interesting is his kids were never baseball players.
Yeah.
And when his kids came down there with him just to spend some time while he was training, his kids literally said to him, Dad, if we moved here, we would play baseball. He's like, okay, we're selling the house. We're buying a house. We're buying a house in Bradenton, and we're moving here. And he moved his family down there as well. And his kids loved it. It was just an unbelievable environment. Why don't you tell the people who may not know as much about the IMG Academy, what the IMG Academy is all about?
It is, it's an academy that's almost in a way college-like. It's one sport specific, unlike most schools, prep schools, where kids can play 2 or 3 sports a year. They focus on one sport. Our academic standards are really good now. I would say in the last 5 years, they're comparable to any prep school in the Northeast. We really thrive. Our culture here is amazing. We want the best out of every kid that goes to IMG, prepare them for life, boys and girls, athletes, prepare them for life for the next step college-wise. College placement is very huge here. I have a big role in that as the director. I'm sure like you do, I know every coach out there in the nation, Division I, II, and III. So I help kids, and my coaching staff's been great. I came on board in July and hired 3 coaches out of the gates. And it's been great. So college placement here is great. Our methodology for lacrosse is the way I played growing up in Canada and Syracuse. Fast pace, upbeat tempo, giving the kids a lot of creativity, giving them the light to be creative, the green light, I mean. And we try different things that you don't normally try, the behind the backs, the reverse backhands, and things like that in practice every day. So that's the way I played, and that's the way the Gate brothers played, obviously, when I grew up with them, and I wanted to instill it here.
Yeah, unfortunately, I had to play against the Gate brothers as well. We didn't do too well. We had one really good game my junior year at Brown. We had a great game against them. But my freshman year, that was our first year ever. We got smoked up at Cuse. I think we lost 17-2.
What
We
year
scored
was
the
that?
first goal of the game.
What year was that, Dave?
That was by 86.
86. Okay.
Yeah, so we got smoked, and then but we had some great games. But I think my senior year I ended up having I got kind of moved up and played pole on Gary, and he was just a beast. And I remember the funniest thing was the scouting report. I think when the Gates were freshmen, the scouting report that Dom Starsha put out was big, all lefty, slow Canadians. And I'm like, well, you got the big and the Canadian right, but everything else after that was wrong. And yeah, they were all lefty because they were ripping it behind their back, and so much fun to watch. And I think that era of lacrosse. I saw someone just post something of the Syracuse Hopkins game. And I'm not sure what it might have been your freshman year, 89.
Yeah.
And just some epic games but that's when lacrosse was fun. You had Petro Mala. I think Petro took 4 shots in that game as a defenseman.
Yeah.
And it's fun to watch. So I love that you are taking that style and bringing it to the IMG Academy.
Yeah, no, we do. We enhance it. And anybody that comes here and tours our campus, they get that full effect. I make sure they shadow with our players in the academic building, go to the cafeteria, meet the head of the school, meet our coaching staff, get on the field with us. A lot of those guys that come for a visit will actually practice with my team, and they get the full effect of the coaching staff, the players I have. And my guys just, boys and girls programs, they're happy. They're smiling all the time here. And how could you not when it's 80 degrees every day in January, February? So,
well, recently, and I'm going to let you, get into it in more depth, but recently I had a dad call me for his son. He needs to do a PG year. He's going to go to a really good Ivy League school. And he was asking me, where I thought he should go. And I said, well, here's the difference. I said, if he needs to get bigger, stronger, faster, increase his lacrosse IQ, you're not going to have a better chance of doing that than going to the IMG Academy. And why don't you take someone through what a typical day is for a student? Because this really is. It's a sports academy.
It is. It's a sports academy first, exactly. It actually started a little quick history. It started as a tennis camp in 1978 with
Nick Bollettieri.
Right? Yes, absolutely. And actually, he's still here on campus 3 days a week, 88 years old, Nick. So he's still around. So it started as a tennis, and then it grew, and we had golf and soccer. We have 16 soccer teams. It's crazy. We have our own soccer building. We have, I believe there's 29 soccer coaches on campus. Lacrosse is only year 9, I think. And a typical day for our program, it's a little different. It's reversed with the boys and girls. The girls' sports are in the morning. So they'll do APD, which is athletic performance development. And we have our own coaches. We have our own mind coach. We have our own sports strength and conditioning coach, sports agility coaches, just for lacrosse. So we're very fortunate. And we just have that on the girls' side. The boys' side has their own coaches as well. So the girls do their sport in the morning. Practices usually start around 9:15. Then they do the APD training after. Then they go have lunch. Then they do the academics in the afternoons. Boys are just like any other school. You know, boys have academics in the morning, and their sports start at 1:15 every day. Sometimes we mix it up. They do the APD training first, then practice later, or sometimes they do practice first, APD later. The fall is a little bit more laid back here for lacrosse because we're not in season. We try to, you know, obviously with my upbringing, we play box lacrosse at least once or twice a week, and we mix it up. Friday we'll do a little beach lacrosse, which is kind of cool for these guys that we can do it here. So we mix it up. We make it fun for the kids, but it is intense, and it's intense. It's every single day. They're playing, practicing, and there's strength and conditioning. They're lifting. They're doing a lot. Our mind gym is crazy. We have the Gatorade Performance Center, which is, you have to be here to see it, to believe it. It's amazing, this whole center, and the coaches that are involved are great.
Yeah, when I was down there, like, you know, about 9, 10 years ago, what was really interesting was I had a chance to not only spend a half a day with the head of sports psychology down there, but we went to dinner that night, and it was so interesting as an athlete. I'm like, my God, this would have been an athlete's dream to be able to go to a place like IMG for me.
Yeah, no, it is. I talk about with all my Canadian friends at home. They're like, what kind of school are you at? It was funny because I worked in Baltimore for 23 years at 2 private schools. And my Canadian friends from Victoria couldn't imagine paying what they're paying at just a regular private school, you know, 30 grand plus. Then I kind of told them about IMG's tuition. They're like, there's no way there's a place like that. But you do really get everything out of us. It's the coaching staff are working. We have camps that run all year. We have kids during our season that come here, and we have to coach them up during a week. So my coaches will be recruiting during the day, doing game film, structure for practice, and we might have to slip out and do a 2-hour 9 to 11 camp session with, you know, 7 to 15 kids sometimes.
Right.
So it's an amazing campus. It's over 700 acres wide, and we're fortunate. And lacrosse is a sport that's really catching on, and that's why I'm here. You know, with my experience from coaching and my Rolodex, everybody that I know, I'm excited, and I love my job.
Yeah. When I saw that you were hired, I go, oh my God, they got the right guy. You know, this is the right guy at the right time. Sometimes it's a whole timing issue. Yeah. I think it's going to be great. You know, I don't know what it was like for you, but, you know, when I was at Brown, you know, we didn't do much. You know, I played 3 sports originally freshman year: football, wrestling, and lacrosse. And then sophomore year, I blew out my shoulder wrestling, so I ended my wrestling career. But, you know, during wrestling season and stuff, we were doing a ton of cardio, you know, lifting, push-ups, stuff like that. We didn't do a lot of that in lacrosse. Now today, you see it, a Division I athlete, you know, they're literally training 3 to 5 days a week with their speed and strength coach, besides practicing. So do you think that, you know, what you guys are providing for them really gives kids such a leg up that you come in as a freshman and you're already used to this?
Yeah, we do. You know, we start school a little bit earlier than most. I think our first day of school is around August 18th or 19th, I believe. But
as long as it doesn't interfere with Lake Placid, so we're okay with that.
Yeah, exactly. Lake Placid, of course. I have not even been there yet. Do you believe that?
Oh.
I'm always home in Victoria, British Columbia with my family that's still back there. So it's I wish one day I'll get out there. No, so yeah, we gauge these kids as soon as we come in. It's all on computer. It's all through every coach in the APD have their names, their rosters, attendance. mind, reaction time we gauge. We have everything. So by the time a kid gets here, starts at the end of August, we see their progress through the new year till January before the season starts. The speed and you know, they do their 40s, they do you know, I have a kid here that's a senior who's actually going to be a post-grad, decided to do a post-grad year next year. He's already gained 9-10 pounds of muscle mass and increased his speed. So that's what we do. We gauge everything, and our coaching staff is amazing. Not only in lacrosse, our APD. So every kid is definitely bigger, faster, stronger, and it helps, especially the PG here, post-grad, because a lot of colleges want that, and it's actually a better fit for a kid going in a year later.
Yeah, well, you know, let's jump into, you know, obviously this is a crazy time right now, and you know, I was actually thinking about you guys at IMG. I'm like, man, you know, what's really unique about IMG with how many sports they have, and you know, we're obviously lacrosse guys, but you know, they have a lot of international students. You know, the best tennis players in the world want to come to IMG Academy to train and go to school, and basketball players and golfers, et cetera. How are you guys handling, you know, what's going on with all your students right now?
Well, it's funny you say that. As of a week and a half ago, we still had 279 students left, boarding students. I think we're only down to maybe 100 now, 100 and something. Some of them just can't go home. You know, some students are from China and Japan, and you know, mostly tennis and golf athletes. It's tough, but we do. Guess what? We do train them. You know, our coaching staff are here every day on campus. There's no, you know, visitors are allowed to come on campus anymore. So only the internal employees can come here, and we still coach those kids up that are left, that are boarding.
Wow, that's awesome.
There's no lacrosse players here, so it makes our job, my job, a little bit easier with this distance learning platform that we're on. But my coaches, I'll be honest, are working even harder on this. For the last 2 weeks, we put this distance learning platform in place, and we're getting a lot of good feedback. The kids are on Coach Now every single day. As we speak, I'm getting posts left and right coming up on Coach Now for videos that the kids are posting on by themselves, assignments. We have the APD people, the nutrition part, you know, they're right. Posting. There's a lot going on right now as we speak. So it is a bit overwhelming. I haven't really slept much in the last 10 days, to be honest with you, because I am getting some posts here and there, some questions from parents, but we're doing a great job. I think everything's been positive from the families. It's obviously not the product we'd love, you know, for them. You know, it's different than being here on campus getting coached up.
Yeah, but listen, this is something that's just completely unprecedented. We had Jenny Levy from UNC on yesterday,
yeah.
And Jenny's also the Team USA head coach. And you know, one of the things that she was saying is, you know, we're telling our kids, you really got to be flexible. You really got to be flexible. And she related it back to 2013 when they won the national championship, how that was kind of their motto was, you got to have fun and you got to be flexible. Well, same thing in this situation right now. You know, we all need to be flexible. You know, we have to adapt.
Yeah. And my message, so I do a director's message every day as well to the parents, just to keep them engaged. So I tell the parents, I said, listen, just tell your kids, we're only asking maybe 2 hours a day of work, assignments. We'll send them a video clip of a play, maybe an old game, maybe when you were in there, you know, maybe it was a Brown-Syracuse game, and say, what is this guy doing now? Where should he be with the ball, or how is he getting on this guy defensively? So we ask them questions all the time, and they've been very engaging, all our players, boys and girls. So I think as you know, the only way you get better at this sport of lacrosse is practicing on your own. And what better way now with this downtime is to get out there, go in their backyard. And, you know, if you don't have a big backyard, like some do, some don't, go in the basement, do something. Keep that stick in your hand. And this is just an enhanced way to work on your own. You know, now you're getting feedback from our coaching staff every single day, every hour of, hey, good video. Maybe try this with your left hand, or maybe try this with your foot. Right. You know,
I think what's interesting about video too is I remember going through this. I had a kid who she's an absolute standout in college now, and we were working on shooting one day, and I was trying to get her hands away from her body. Her hands were just too tight, and So I finally videotaped her and showed her what she looked like. She's like, "Oh my goodness, that's what I look like,"
Yeah.
when they see it. And
Yeah.
now the kid's an absolute stud in college.
Yeah.
And but it's amazing. Sometimes that video, it's just another way of learning. It clicks for them.
Yeah. No, I told my kids too. I said, listen, guys, I grew up with a 4x4 goal in my driveway and a tennis ball, and I put music on. That was me. And I emulated my stars, my heroes. But now I wish back then I was getting feedback from a coach or anybody on staff. And these kids get both. They get to work on their own now, and they get feedback. So what better way than that to get better?
Yeah, absolutely. So now, the NCAA came out yesterday. They voted. All these spring athletes are going to get that extra year. Now they're figuring out the finances of it. One thing that I keep hearing is the people who are truly concerned about this. I think there's different groups, and you almost might break it down by the graduation class. You have the incoming freshmen who are 2020s that are like, oh my God, now I'm competing with potentially 4 other classes of kids.
Yeah.
It's not just the sophomores and juniors and seniors, this extra group.
Yeah.
I think we are going to see certain schools. I don't think certain schools are going to be impacted as much. Obviously, I think the one schools that are going to be hurt the most is probably the Ivies.
Yeah.
Because, they can't offer these kids. But, I just saw Sowers from Princeton, who was just on a record-breaking year.
Yeah.
He was just having a hell of a year. It's so much fun to watch. But he actually dropped out of school so that he can go next year and play his final year at Princeton.
Wow.
So that's an interesting decision that some people are going to make.
Yeah.
I've also seen coaches who are going after the Ivy kids who are seniors and saying, "Hey, come play here your 5th year." So that's the 20s. So I think it's very interesting what's going on with them. But then you also have, the 21s. You have a group of 21s. You have some kids that aren't recruited yet.
Yeah.
They're looking forward to their junior year in high school and, having a great year. And then it kind of flickers down to the 22s. So the one thing I'm hearing a lot from people is, what do these kids do? Do they do a PG year? Do they take that extra year to make sure that they're getting seen? So what are your thoughts on that? And are you getting those same questions?
Yeah, Dave, I do. We get those all the time. My emails are just going crazy, but yeah, it's a decision. It's a decision they have to make. And exactly, some of those seniors now that are staying, what does that do to the freshman class or vice versa? Like, do those kids, do they get playing time? Are they going to be the studs on their team once they get to college? I don't know. It's a big, huge roster now. So PG year does come into effect. A lot of kids think, hey, listen, I have a better shot maybe holding off for a year in a college and there's no commitment yet. So why don't I just do it? And now the 21 opens up for me. So yeah, there's a lot of talk about the PG year, and I think it's beneficial for some of the kids. It might not be beneficial for all, but I think in the long run it is.
Do you think some of these kids who are recruited right now and committed as 21s, that they should be contacting their college coaches and speaking to them about, hey, what's the best situation for me?
Yeah, absolutely. You can't be shy when it comes to this. This is their career. This is their career. It's them. And there's no there's no way they should reach out to their coaches. Absolutely. Colleges.
Right.
This is
Jenny Levy brought up a great point yesterday, which I absolutely loved. And you talk about being flexible and having a different perspective. She was talking about Katie Hogue, Katie Hogue is one of her seniors who's, she's the all-time points leader ever at UNC, and she wasn't even done yet. And she made the decision that she's going to come back for her 5th year. What an opportunity, though, for those freshmen. If you're a freshman attacker, to learn from a Katie Hogue. If you're a freshman attacker coming into Princeton, now you have a chance to learn from Sowers. So yeah. I also look at that standpoint too. Yeah. Like, for me, I was a goalie. I originally started as a goalie and switched to defense. I learned playing defense from a first-team All-American, Billy McComas. That's who I learned from. He was a year older than me, and he took me under his wing, and he taught me how to throw checks and everything. And, I was just an athlete with a stick out there. And Billy helped turn me into, a defenseman. So
Yeah.
there is that other side of it.
No, there is. You're absolutely right. It would be exciting for, looking back in my era, if a West Jenny kid who was in the same situation, a West Jenny kid, and John Zilberti had to stay an extra year, right? How cool would that be?
Yeah.
John was the biggest star back then for West Jenny, so I get that. There is that side to it as well.
So listen, I've already taken up a lot of your time. If you could kind of wrap up here and just kind of give folks, because I think it's really important. Number one is, how do they learn more about the IMG Academy? Do you guys have anything online that they could take a look at?
Yeah, we have obviously Instagram page, very simple. Most people are on the Instagram, a lot of kids. So IMG Lacrosse, IMG Lacrosse, IMG Academy, all Instagram. We have some really cool videos. We had a huge story, actually. A story just came out from Inside Lacrosse. So Terry Foy was here.
Oh, sure. Terry's great.
Yeah, Terry did a great job here on campus. He toured 3 or 4 of our players. We showed them the locker rooms, the day in the life of IMG. So look at that video, absolutely. And that's on IMG Lacrosse Instagram. We have a Twitter page as well. So you can go and see at least, a dozen to 2 dozen videos of our lacrosse program. You'll see a couple cool beach scenes. When I was talking to you about the Fridays at the beach.
Yeah, I saw that one. I know that one.
And just everything. You'll see the campus views and Chris Locke, the head of the academics to the school. He talks about our academics. So it's not just, you're not just getting one side of the sports. You want to obviously think about the academics, and I'll tell you that staff over there at that other building, the academics are bar none. They're all PhDs and very, very accomplished academics staff. So so IMG in a nutshell is all about training sports, but academics play a huge part of it.
It's amazing. You guys have cranked out some ridiculous world-class athletes. You're watching the football recruits and stuff like that coming through, and soccer players who are playing on the world teams, et cetera. But now you're also seeing, the lacrosse program is new, and you're seeing some unbelievable lacrosse players. I know one of my daughter's really good friends is Tahoka, and I know Tahoka is an IMG grad.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Tahoka, and you got Drake Porter, who would have probably, if Syracuse continued their season, and who knows, might have won.
Number 1 in the country.
Yeah, I know. Maybe they would have won, and Drake Porter could be goalie of the year. So he was an IMG kid as well. I think Syracuse has 4 IMG kids on their team, and we have one here that's going. Mateo, of course, he's committed, and he's a Michigan boy. So Mateo's excited about that. And I'm just, like I said, the college placement guide is what we follow, and I do my best. And my 5 coaches in the other room here, they work hard and diligently every day, and we want what's best for obviously the program. So it's great. Like I said,
I get a lot of questions all the time, and people, and I'm familiar, and especially with, dealing with a lot of the Ivies and stuff, and, people are used to going to, there are certain schools. You have the Deerfields and the Phillips Andovers and schools like that, are pumping out kids to the Ivies all the time. The one thing I've said to people, though, when they ask me about, what would I do if you had a kid who was going to do this, I said I would send them to the IMG Academy. And the reason why is I don't think any of those schools are truly going to prepare them for the rigors of a D1 sport like the IMG Academy is going to do.
Right. Absolutely.
And if you need to get faster, stronger, need a better IQ, you want to deal with the mental game, which is so important. You're not going to get that at the other schools.
No, you're not. And like I said, I'm excited just going to practice outside and seeing these kids. And it's rigorous. If you're not into the rigorous college-like structure, then IMG is not for you. But we prepare you and we challenge you. There's a lot of challenges here.
Well, it's a couple weeks ago, right before this whole, COVID-19 thing started, I had sent out a poll to college coaches about recruiting and asking them what characteristics are they looking for that are the most important characteristics. I gave 8 characteristics and I had them rank them. And what was interesting is number 1 was they want kids who are coachable. Mm-hmm. They want kids who have that self-starter attitude, mm-hmm. that they don't need to ask them to go do the extra. Those kids are doing it on their own anyhow.
Yes.
And it's great to see, the success that you're already, you've already changed the program in less than 6 months. You can definitely see that, what you've put into this. And I know the respect that you have in the lacrosse community. It's just, you're going to keep getting great kids to go there.
I really appreciate that, Dave. Like I said, I love my job. I wake up every morning and very fortunate. I wake up and I look outside with my coffee and there's a palm tree right there outside. And I'm in actually Florida. I still pinch myself. My wife and I pinch ourselves that we're actually in Florida I was in Baltimore for 24 and a half years. And this job just suits me. And it's been great so far. It's challenging at times, yes, but it's been great. And I appreciate everything.
Well, I'll make sure that when we post this video and we get it up, that we'll make sure that everyone has access to be able to ask questions. I know we had an issue with going live. I think what's happening right now is that so many companies are using platforms like Zoom, et cetera, that it's just blowing up systems. And so at least we were able to record this, get you on here, and I appreciate your time, Tom. If there's anything that you need from us, let us know. But thanks for taking the time to spend with the Elevate Academy and all the people who are watching this who are just going to, get valuable insight from what you're doing.
I appreciate it, Dave, and have a great day and good luck the rest of the day. Thank you.
All right, Tom. Thanks, bud. Talk to you soon. Way to go, 42.